Well, hello to episode 1010 of the Universe of Magic podcast. I'm John. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined. She's back. It's Alyssa.
I'm back.
Johnny is not here. Yep, that's fine. Johnny is not here this week. We have amazing guests this week. I am over the moon, excited to bring them on. We have.
Literally been talking for weeks about bringing them on. So
I've been begging, pleading, and finally we had to separate her from the cruise ship. So we are going to bring on the one, the only Cindy, who was on not only one sailing of the Disney Wish, but two sailings of the Disney Wish.
Two sailings.
Back to back. And we have another guest that's waiting in the wings. But Cindy, go ahead and just tell us your background. You are one of the board members here at Moments of Magic Travel. We are so pleased to have you. This is big for us.
Thank you.
It only took 10 episodes, but you're here. Go ahead and give us a background of, who you are, what's your favorite thing about travel, something we always ask our guests.
Okay, well, I am Cindy, and I have been an agent with Moments of Magic since 2014. So it's been about 8 years now. And I specialize in the cruises. I started sailing with Disney Cruise Line back in 2007, and I haven't stopped.
Do you know how many you've been on? Do you know altogether how many?
Just finished my 17th. Yeah. So yeah, I've been packing them in since they started sailing again. So I'm trying to get up there now, but yeah, I've been on all 5. I started with the Magic and just did 2 on the Wish. So I've completed them all. So I'm just waiting for the new ones now.
Jeez, you are and honestly, I think at the end, I think, Alyssa, refresh my memory. Didn't when we initially talked about even having Cindy on that we should have her try to convince our spouses to do a cruise?
Yes.
Totally should. Tell me who I need to talk to.
Yeah. Well, I joked. Yeah, I joked and called it the cruise to nowhere, but with you it would be somewhere. So anyway, waiting in the wings is another Moments of Magic travel agent. It is Nanci, and we'll go ahead and add her here. She has been an agent with Moments of Magic Travel for how long?
Gosh, I was thinking when you asked Cindy, I came on just either just before or just after Cindy, and I can't remember the timeline. So just as long. And have really enjoyed my time. I took a short hiatus from 2020. This is a happy podcast, but my mom got ill, and so I took a short hiatus, and now I'm come back.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back. We missed
Welcome
you.
back. In fact, there was a lot of buzz in the Facebook group when you came back. So we are. I know all of us the great thing about using a travel agent is there's just a wealth of knowledge with no matter who you book for. My expertise is Disney, Cindy's is Disney Cruise Line, Alyssa just knows everything. So it's the great thing. And Moments of Magic Travel is a wealth of information. We'll put the information right there for our brand new website where you can find an agent near you. So, Cindy, Nanci, you just got off the Wish. Where do we even begin to talk about this ship? I've heard good, I've heard bad. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, let's start with, we'll go to Nanci first because Nanci has only cruised 2 other times before the Wish. So she only had the Wonder to compare it to. So as a new person with, semi-new person with cruising, I think she looked at it a lot differently too than I did. So a couple different perspectives.
Yeah, so I kind of bring the newbie cruiser perspective in that I was really nervous to go on a cruise initially, and Cindy talked me into it. I was an agent and I did all land-based vacations, but I was a little nervous to step out into cruise because it is a big difference and there's a lot to learn. But she held my hand and walked me through it. I will tell you, it is. I've only been on the Disney Wonder, which is one of the smaller ships, and so getting on the Disney Wish was boing, my eyes popped out of my head because it was just such a bigger ship. So again, my perspective, and Cindy and I talked a lot about this. I'm just wide-eyed. This is amazing. There's so much to see. There's so much to do. It's the pools, it was just unbelievable. So from that perspective, I'm going from a smaller ship to a bigger ship. But the Disney level of service, all of that was there. I was wowed every dining experience, and to hear some of the frequent cruisers pinpoint little things that they had issues with, I was like, really? I don't think it's, that doesn't bother me. That's great. That's not a big deal. But I do understand you're, and Cindy can speak to this, when you've sailed as much as they have and they've come to have expectations, then that makes sense, right? They're comparing it to what they've experienced and what they hoped to experience on the Wish. But, happy to answer any specific questions. Cindy will give you a lot of details as well. But from a newbie still sailor, I was impressed and had a great time.
Do you guys know the stats of how much bigger it is than the others?
It's very similar in size to the Dream and the Fantasy. It holds about the same amount of passengers. Size-wise, it's very similar. So between the classic ships, which is the Magic and the Wonder, and these larger ships, it's probably about half. So the smaller ships hold about half of what the larger ships do. So my first cruise was on the Magic, which is very similar in to the Wonder. So like Nanci was saying, going from that size to going to the size of these new ships, and the Wish is part of what they are calling the Triton class. So it's, the larger, more extravagant. But I would say their theme is enchantment. And that's really, what you feel when you walk onto the ship the first time. All of the ships are beautiful. But this one, just in that grand hall, they don't call it the atrium, they call it the grand hall. And you see pictures of it. It's just whimsical. I mean, it's very light colored, and it's just beautiful. And that chandelier is amazing. And it's just gorgeous. So, yeah, I mean, people that have sailed a lot do find, different things that they are comparing to somebody that's, not sailed as much. But overall, the ship's amazing. And I think as more people now start going on the ship, you had platinum cruisers on that first one. So a lot of the information came out was people that have sailed 10, 20, 30, 40, up over 200 times. Some of those people are comparing it to those ships. So they're going to find a lot of things they like and don't like. Everybody has, that's why that's so great. There's, coming out with so many now, because everybody's going to have their favorite. So.
And just like with anything Disney does, I think that there's going to be people who just are like, oh, it's just horrible. And like, and honestly, looking from someone who's never cruised before, I can't wait to go on the ship because give me the Star Wars stuff. Like, I'm not going to buy the $5,000 drink, but like maybe when my wife's not looking, I will be like, hey, I'll take that one.
Yeah, well, we saw somebody that did on ours.
We did.
Really?
Yes. It was all over the ship. Everybody knew.
He's the guy right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
I
we
probably
did
watched
go
the
in.
video
Nanci
from
and I
that.
did. Did you see the video? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We know who.
We saw the TikTok on the ship, so we knew who he was. We weren't sitting there when he did it, but we knew who he was after the TikTok. But yeah, no, we went to Hyperspace Lounge. You have to make an appointment currently, a reservation to get in there. But it is cool. I mean, it's cool. We got you're limited. What was it, 30 or 45 minutes? I think. Is your time frame. Basically, you can go in there, you get a drink, and you just kind of look in awe at everything. But it's definitely a cool little lounge. So
hopefully it's not like Space 220 where I leave disappointed.
Yeah. Well, you only have a half hour to be disappointed. Then
But I mean, like, it seems like everything I've read about the ship, they have something for everyone. They have like stuff for princesses. They have Pixar theme. They have Marvel theme. They try to encompass everything into one ship. And rather than doing like Marvel Day at Sea or Star Wars Day at Sea, you can just go there whenever you want when you're on the ship.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in that?
No. One of the restaurants that you eat at. So the Dream, no, sorry, the Wish is going to be doing 3 and 4 nights. They're taking over for the Dream and Port Canaveral. So the Dream's kind of moved out and gave its spot to the Wish. So they have the 3 main restaurants that you rotate through. So on the 3 nights, you'll visit one of the restaurants each night, and then on the 4 nights, one of those will be doubled. And they're all beautiful restaurants. 1923 is very low key. It's a lot of memorabilia that you can look at while you're sitting there. It's very low key. And then you have Arundel, which is just lively, and you have a stage show while you're eating, and it's really super fun. And then Marvel, I mean, even Nanci, who's not into Marvel, they make it fun. They have videos on the screen. They actually, spoiler alert, but they act like they're on the ship and they've shrunk the ship and they're fighting on the pool deck while you're sitting at dinner, so it's pretty cool how they kind of bring all that in there for everybody. There's just something for everyone, like you were saying.
Question for you, because I saw when they were doing the announcement of the 3 different dining locations, they did like a teaser trailer of like Ant-Man and the Wasp and like all the crazy foods you get. What was that experience like?
So they have them on the screen, the video, they go through a whole thing, and they, each video kind of goes with what you're eating. So they'll do a little video, and then you get your appetizer, and then they'll come back and they'll do some more, and then you get your dinner, and then you get your dessert. And at the end, Ant-Man and the Wasp actually come to the dining room, and they're actually live characters in the dining room. So that was super fun. So they kind of make it very interactive. And the same with Arundel. They have, Elsa and Anna, and they're celebrating Anna's engagement, and Olaf is there, and so that they do make it very fun and interactive. And then they actually come around to each table like you're at their wedding or their engagement party, and they say thank you for coming, and thank you for being a part of this. So
awesome.
which is something that I'm so glad, and just going to the theme park element, I'm so glad table interactions are coming back, as far as like, we went to Tapolino Terrace for breakfast, and like the interactions we had with the characters were great. So like bringing that back adds just a whole nother level of magic, especially when you're bringing kids. Speaking of kids entertainment, I know that there's like the slide that I've, a friend of mine who was on the ship that time, you can like go down if you're an adult, like, so is there?
It's close. I
was about to ask.
I really wanted to do it, but I didn't.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to tour the kids club?
Yeah.
Yes, I had gone. I think I toured it on the one before Nanci was on with me. I toured the kids club. We did go down to tour the Star Wars area of the kids club, but they were having a presentation in there at the time, so we didn't. But yeah, Nanci was definitely eyeing up the slide. The slide's pretty cool.
I mean, you see parents at the top, and they're like, "Okay, bye," and their kid just goes, "Okay." You don't have to deliver them that way. You do the traditional method. Obviously, with little ones, you want to make sure everything goes. But that is one option.
And you guys did not sail with any kids. Did you get any experiences? Like, did you hear of any good or bad pros or cons of the kids clubs there?
No, we didn't hear anything on. There were very little. There was not a lot of kids on our sailing at all. It wasn't just us. It was mostly, it was platinum members and mostly, I think they told us at one point there was around 2,850 something, and only 200 of them were kids. Yeah. Oh, wow. So we were at Castaway on the family beach, and I think we saw maybe 3 little children the whole time we were there. So I felt like I was at the adult beach when we were on Castaway. But that's no more. I mean, now that they're regular sailing, there's definitely a lot of children on there, but the kids areas, as always, are amazing. I have some pictures up in the group that I run, so of some of the kids spaces, but as always, they're just out of this world. They even have on the other ships, they have an outdoor basketball court, but here it's an indoor basketball court. They have a whole little, it's called Hero Zone. Yep. And they actually bring a big inflatable in there, and they do, like Hero Zone Wars and things like that. And then there's an upstairs level that has I think it was ping pong and air hockey and like all these different things, and it's all inside. So no more losing basketballs off the side of the ship. They actually have it indoors now.
That's awesome. And is that something adults can participate in too? All those
Hero
things?
Zone, yes, it's any age. Yep. So it's not. And then they also have now 18 to 20-year-olds is kind of that spot where people didn't know what to do. You know, they're too old for Vibe and they're too young for the bars. So they actually they've always had the 1820 Society, which is where they would do meetups around the ship and even on the island for 18 to 20-year-olds. But now they have actually a section of Vibe, which is the teen club, the 14 to 17-year-olds. They have a section that they can close off and hold, different things there for the 18 to 20-year-olds, which is good because they don't have that on any of the other ships. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Was there anything else that you guys noticed that weren't on the other ships? And that might be more of a question for you, Cindy, but Nanci too, if you can think of anything.
Hot tubs in the family areas. There were no hot tubs that I saw. There was one in the adult area, but not on the other ships. They have on the Dream and the Fantasy, they have large hot tubs in the family areas, but I didn't see those. There's more pools. There's about 6 or 7 family pools now, whereas before there was only the 2. So they're smaller, they're not as deep, and but there's more of them by the midship where the funnel vision, the big movie theater screen and everything. There's about 6 pools. Nanci, I think one of her favorites was probably the pirate party.
Yes, it was much improved. Not that it was bad on the other ship, but it was just bigger and better fireworks from both sides of the ship. Captain Jack was there, and so it was a great time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that on every Wish sailing? Do you know?
It is, and it's on most all of the Bahamian and Caribbean sailings. They have Pirate Night with fireworks and things like that. But the Wish has a live band that plays, and they play a lot of songs. I kept saying like, oh, this is a flashback, a lot of the 80s and 90s rock songs, and We're Not Gonna Take It, and all these kind of things that you could picture pirates singing. But yeah, that was definitely, I did enjoy that one a lot. Yeah, that's a fun one that they changed too. So hopefully they bring it maybe to the other ships too, because that one was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And the fireworks from 2 sides too, that was something that I did not expect, because normally it comes from the aft of the starboard side. But when I was videoing, all of a sudden I saw the corner of my eye, there's some coming this way too. So they actually have a larger fireworks show now, which is pretty cool.
And I think, Cindy, you told me one time another ship, I don't know, maybe it was a Disney ship, they watched the fireworks because not every ship has fireworks. So
yes.
Disney's
the only one right now that is allowed to do the fireworks. And when I was on the Dream sailing back in 2012, the Fantasy was doing its maiden voyage, and it actually pulled up alongside of us and watched our fireworks go on. So that was the day I decided that one day I was going to get on a maiden voyage, and I finally did. Bucket list.
Magic.
I know.
That's awesome.
So
it was.
As far as I think the unique thing about our podcast is each of the hosts bring a different element. I don't have kids. So if you are on the Disney Wish and you wanted to avoid the kid areas at all costs, what things can you do, as far as for entertainment to, avoid the kids? And not that I have any problem with kids, but if I'm on vacation, I don't necessarily want to deal with wailing and gnashing of teeth when it comes to children.
Well, first I would say second dining is less kids at second dining, so I would pick that off the bat. The adult area, they have an infinity pool and a hot tub and a couple of little smaller areas that you can kind of cool off. They have a bar back there, a cafe back there, so that's definitely, you can just jump on the elevator and head right there and bypass all the children. I started sailing, my kids were 2 and 5, and they're 17 and 20 now. And my 17-year-old is platinum now too. So he's sailed many times, but I never see him when he's on the ship either, because he's kind of an old man in a 17-year-old body, but he likes to play shuffleboard and go to the movies. But He does some of the things where he sees no kids, so he could probably answer this question as well. But there is lots of stuff for adults to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Bars and lounges. I would say, Nanci, I think we saw one at every turn. There's bars and lounges everywhere.
A lot more on the Wish, a lot more bars and lounges. And I'll just speak to, when we took my mom on the Wonder, she was a little worried. She's like, oh my gosh, there's going to be so many children. Is it just going to be like a big Disney park on a boat? And she was very, very impressed and very happy. And she spent some time in the adult section to kind of like rejuvenate her nerves and things like this. So we sailed the Wonder a number of years ago now, but it was great, so I that's what I tell families all the time. It's really 2 vacations in one, because if you do have children, you can have some time with just your spouse, right? Or your adult, whichever person, your sister, brother, whomever you brought with you. And I think that's really, really wonderful and really special, because when you take a traditional vacation, it's more difficult to find those separate moments and times. And sometimes your kids don't even want to leave the kids club. So that's the biggest problem I ever had, was like, okay, well, we want to see you and we would like to have some dinner with you.
That was always our rule. You do what you want, but we all come together for dinner. I may not see you the other 17 hours of the day, but dinner, we see each other. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what Nanci and I, we were adults and we found plenty to do. And, times we didn't. Again, ours was special because there wasn't a lot of kids, but deck 4 lounge chairs. Just remember that if you're adults looking for nothing to do with kids, deck 4 lounge chairs. Just sit there and look at the water. We did that almost every night before dinner.
Yes.
That sounds so relaxing. It's so lovely. You're making me want
Alyssa,
right now.
we talked about having Cindy plan our cruise, and not that necessarily. I mean, you can put it at opposite ends of the ship there, but
there is tons.
Sorry, you did make me think of a question. One of the things I was super excited about on the Wish was the Beauty and the Beast themed. Is it a restaurant and there's a bar? I think it is. Did you guys visit any of the special restaurants while you were on there?
There's a bar lounge area called the Rose, and that's Beauty and the Beast themed. Yes. So I did go there actually with Jeffrey, our BDM. The first cruise that I was on was a travel agent media sailing, and he was on there. So he and I went one night to catch up, and I was able to go to the Rose, and it's beautiful there. I mean, everything is, but that's another area that you will not see children. That's where Apollo is, and Enchante, which are the adult restaurants, and no kids allowed there either. So you can hit that area too.
Good to know. Do you know, other than Hyperspace Lounge, you have to make reservations for all those other ones as well?
For Apollo and Enchante, yes, those are the adult dining restaurants, the adults only. So you would make dinner reservations there, and on Sea Days, Apollo has a brunch as well. So you would make reservations for that as well. But as for the lounges and the bars, that Hyperspace is the only one right now that you have to make reservations for. I would say, what was the one? Bayou?
Yeah, the Bayou.
Yes, that one's beautiful.
Was really nice.
Yeah,
there's live music and singing, and it was just very chill, very nice.
Yeah, definitely. And their stage shows are great, as always on all of the ships. They're always amazing.
Did you see the one that's special to the Wish that I heard about?
No, they actually, yes, Seize the Adventure, which is their new one. We did see that one. That one was super fun. That was a good one. I don't want to spoil what it was about, but you saw lots of characters in that one. So that one was good. Aladdin which was the one that was playing Aladdin? No, it was a Little Mermaid.
Right. Yeah. Aladdin's coming.
Aladdin was not.
Which I heard a lot of good things about the Little Mermaid show there.
Yes.
I heard that's top notch. They're hoping that they bring that to Hollywood studios, for the Little Mermaid show there.
And we were sailing with Jodie Benson. Both sailings I was on, Jodie Benson was on there, so that was pretty cool. She was just walking around the ship with everybody else. And then we also, on the first one that I went on the 10th, we had Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy. He was on there too. So yes, so that was pretty cool to see him as well.
Yeah, they're like Disney legends.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I would just like be like, can you talk as Goofy, please?
I did. Did you see my video? I had him say happy birthday to my mom because it was her birthday when we were sailing. So I kind of like
awesome.
tapped him as he was walking out to the pool. I'm like, do me a favor, please. And he did. He was really sweet. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would like, I don't know. Can you wish my uncle cousin's grandma like happy birthday just to get him to say it? Like,
yeah. It was so cool. Yeah, it's like you just close your eyes and you're standing in front of Bill Farmer, but it's amazing how like he can just bring it up right there in front of you by the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
cool. We were going to touch on this a little bit. So the Wish is, I think you and I talked about it on the phone. Like the Wish is the grand standard now as far as Disney cruises. I don't want to say do a power ranking, but do a power ranking of the ships.
Oh no.
Nanci, you go first.
Well, my vote doesn't count in this situation. But I think that would be hard. I don't know. Cindy, isn't that hard?
It is hard. I mean, I think I'm emotionally attached to the Magic just because it was my first. My kids were young and it was our first cruise, and there's a server on there, Sammy, who's incredible. Anybody that cruises a lot knows who he is because he's been with the Magic since 1998, and he's just a amazing guy. But I think I'm emotionally attached to the Magic. But the Fantasy, I would always tell people, is my second, just because it does the longer sailings, because it's almost exactly the same as the Dream, but the Dream does the shorter sailings, and I like the longer sailings. So I would say that. Wonder I've only done twice, but I do like the Wonder and the Dream. But I don't know, the Wish, it grew on me after a few days. I really went in there thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna like it because I'm so partial to the other ships. But a couple of days in, I was like, yeah, I think I really like this. I mean, like Nanci said, there's a couple of things that, as somebody that's cruised many times, I would say this might need to be fixed or changed. And it wasn't done. So, you always have to take into account it's going to be a little while before it's operating at what it should be. And there's a couple things I think that people may that maybe they'll change them if they get enough people that say, some things about them. But I really did like the Wish. So I think it's up there. It's probably, I'll go with third.
So let me rephrase that. Right, so if you had, and I'm not necessarily saying plan a cruise with two people without kids. If you had someone, and you and I talked last night, my wife is in the next room. She will gladly tell you why she doesn't want to go on a cruise. I'm pretty sure she's going to shout bacteria about. That being said, everyone I've talked to with her about going on a cruise tells you it's completely different. So if you were to send me towards a ship, what would you send me towards? Because honestly, I struggle with just being someplace 4 days.
Yeah. I don't even unpack my suitcase on a 3-night. I'll tell you that right now. Like
that's the thing.
It's right there on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just got back from Disney World and we did 3 resorts in 6 nights, and it's like we hardly unpacked our suitcases before we switched. But I know split stays are my jam. But I would struggle with that. I would want to go, I've looked at 4 to 5 night sailings, because if I'm gonna I don't want to get hooked on something and only be there, oh boom, it's over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So for any a couple first timers, what's the sweet spot, and what would you say is a good balance?
Well, a lot of times you tell people, now that I've sailed so many times, I don't look so much as the itineraries. I'm more of the ship, so, but a lot of times when you first start out planning for somebody, you start with the itineraries. Where do they want to go? Do they want to go to the Bahamas? Do they want to go to the islands? Where is it that, do they want to go to Europe? I mean, that all determines what ship they get on. So if they're not particular about that, then it's how many nights do you want to sail? Some people don't want to go their first time for 7 nights. They don't know if they're going to like it, and that might be too long. I always say 3 nights is better than no nights, but it is short. It's over before you know it. Because if you think about it, you're really only getting, a full day or two on the ship, and then that's it. It's done. So I always tell people, try to at least start with 4. 4 nights is probably the least, unless you're like, it's 3 nights or nothing, then get on a 3 night. I would say right now, if I had somebody looking to do a shorter sailing, I would steer them towards the Wish, as opposed to the Dream. Reason for that, the location of the port. Port Canaveral, so much nicer, so much easier to get to. They have their own dedicated terminal there. I sailed out of Miami in June, and I was like, this is a hot mess down here, so not that I wouldn't get on the ship, I would still go, but it's so different. Any client I have that sailed out of Port Canaveral and they're going to Miami, I say, just be prepared. It's not the same. So I would probably steer them towards the Wish in that scenario. But if they're like, yep, 7 nights is great, then we just pick Western or Eastern Caribbean, and then Fantasy is the one that you're going to do, because that one's out of Port Canaveral. It's the only one doing the 7 nights right now, to the Bahamas, to the Caribbean. But it all depends. If it's somebody like Nanci's on the West Coast, maybe the easiest for them is the Wonder. That's over in that area a lot of the time, which the Magic is now going to be going out there for a bit in 2023. They're switching things up. The Dream is going out to Europe for a little bit, like what that's never happened before. So I would say basically the first thing is always location. Where is it that you're looking to go or looking to travel to? And then after that, it kind of narrows down the ships that you have. If you want to do a Caribbean, you're not going to be getting on, the Wish, because that doesn't go to the Caribbean right now. So I would always say just start with where you want to go first.
Yeah, and Castaway Cay isn't like a bad place to start as far as getting.
Nanci went for the first time out of her 3 cruises. This was her first time at Castaway. So
yeah, it's beautiful.
Can you tell us about it, Nanci? Like what your experience was first time?
What's so nice about it is that you get right off, and you are, you might take a little tram to the main area, but it's like 5 minutes, and you're there. You don't have to take a card or anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You're right there, and it's so peaceful, and it's all of your shipmates that have gotten off with you, so it's not too crowded. And my experience getting off at other ports, I did West Coast ports, but at like Cabo or something like that, it's a lot more of orchestrated event. You have to plan, okay, what are we going to do, and how are we going to get there, and all of that. Disney helps you do that, but this is oh my gosh, you get on the tram and now we're on the beach, and it's beautiful blue water, and you're right there, and they feed you, and there's little shops, and there's music, and it's like, what more do you need? You're in the Caribbean, you're right
there's
there.
Characters too. Everything I've seen, there's characters, there's all these things, and it's like, I want that. So I joked with Cindy last night that I'm basically taking a year off from Disney World, and I'm going to explore either Disney Cruise or Cruise Line, or I'm going to go out to Disneyland. So those are the 2 things that I'm going to do, just to get not that I'm tired of Disney World. It's just been there, done that, stayed at all the resorts.
Yeah. And that's why honestly, John, that's why we started with the cruise, because we're from New Jersey. We moved down here. My boys were 10 months and 3, and we live an hour from Disney, and that our thing was, what are we going to do so that Disney doesn't get old, and that's literally 2 years after we moved here, we went on our first Disney cruise, and we're like, okay, we found it, this is what we're going to do. And that's what we did. And we didn't have passes to Disney probably the first 6 or 7 years we lived here, because that's what we used to compensate for Disney, and don't regret it at all.
And honestly, I think the nice thing about Disney, and I've talked about this ride a whole bunch of times, and Alyssa's gonna laugh, but the Guardians coaster, seriously, that is the coup de grace for me as far as Disney rides go. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and you add that ride in there, and when they first built that building, I'm like, that is not Disney at all. But the innovation and stuff like that, and it's just and that's the wonderful thing about it. And until they add more things, it's gonna have to be it for a little bit. So
well, I think that's the cool thing about the Wish, is that I feel like, because there hasn't been a new cruise ship in a while. All that innovation,
10 years,
all the Imagineering is now in it, and I think that's why everyone's saying it's so next level, is because so many new things to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many more places to explore, not even just with the Wish, but you know, my thing was I could never do a transatlantic because my kids were in school. I can't take 14 days and yank them out of school. So my kid graduates this year. Guess where Cindy's next bucket list item is? It's a transatlantic.
That's awesome.
You mean to tell me you're not going on that Adventures by Disney, the $109,000 one?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
So.
No, but Adventures by Disney is in the future. Stay tuned. We're doing one of those too.
Oh yeah.
Year, so
yeah.
And I'm taking Nancy.
I'm like, oh, I'm back. And she's like, you're coming with me.
That's awesome.
Well, it's funny. I joked with Cindy. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm the media guy. You could invite me to things. Like, I have cameras.
That's good.
That was my in.
Yeah. Well, I don't foresee that the Wish last week was my last cruise of 2022. So even though I have one planned for 23, I think I'm going to get another couple in there by the end of this year.
5 or 6 before the end of the year.
This is I guess an inside agency joke, but how many magnets did you recover?
Gosh.
Yes, I forgot to even touch on this.
And Nancy's theory was, if you saw one of the videos, somebody looked and saw all these 2022 magnets and just thought they were giveaways. They didn't possibly think somebody's been on that many cruises already in 2022. So that was her thing.
I was like, it's only July, right? And so even if you are a platinum person, like, most likely you don't have 2022, 2022, 2022. Like you had all these others going way back, you know. But then she had 5 for 2022 already. It's just July, you know. So I was like, they thought it was a giveaway, and they took them. I don't think they thought you went. And I'm like, they probably got back to the room and saw Moeller and the date, and were like, oh, this is a cruise she actually went on. Unfortunately, they were never returned, but we did find one on someone's door.
I stole it back.
On what deck was that?
It was actually literally around the corner from our room. We were heading to the elevator and we went, oh, there it is. And I just put it right in my bag. But we did go floor to floor for a few of the floors, and it's a lot of walking, and we did not find them. So there's like maybe 2 or 3 floors we didn't cover. So they were either on there or somebody just chucked them in the garbage because they realized that when they weren't walking all the way back to our room. So, but that's okay. I can have new ones made, but yeah.
You can write it off as a business expense.
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, and we'll close the chapter on the Wish. One thing that you loved, one thing that you would change.
I loved the Grand Hall. I loved the pool area. I thought spreading it out between several different pools was a great idea, rather than having 50 people in one. Because for anybody that cruises knows, pools on cruises are not huge, So I think that was a good. And I loved the dining restaurants. I thought they were great. The buffet was great. All of that was great. Things I didn't love. I know you said one, and I just keep going.
It's okay.
The elevators, not that there was only 2 areas. I didn't mind that. It's not, and they're not forward and aft, as everybody says. And I have a video to prove it. They're more forward and midship slightly towards the aft. It's definitely more midship and forward than aft, because it was a heck of a walk to our room to get there. But they don't ding very loud. So if you're looking at your phone, it comes and goes without you. Or you're running, and running for me is not good because Cindy falls. So they need to make them louder and let them stay there a little bit longer, because she gives you not even 10 seconds. Door open, door close, and it's gone. And you're still sitting there wondering what happened. So they need to make them ding. And then the TVs. Those I'll say are my 2 big ones, the TVs in the staterooms. Before they had them in the middle between the bunk area and the main bed. So if your kids wanted to watch a movie, you could close the drape, swivel the TV, and the kids could watch TV, or vice versa. You had little kids, you could watch TV, close the drape, they could sleep. Now it's smack in front of the main bed, which is very hard to see from the bunk area. It's a nice TV, it's beautiful, but there's no way for little kids to be able to see it very easily. So who knows? I mean, for me, it doesn't make a huge difference, but for families, I think it will. Mm-hmm. What about you, Nancy?
I love the theming of all the restaurants. I thought they were just as you would expect with Disney, but so spot on, but even more so than what I had experienced on the Wonder. And so I really enjoyed those, from the food to the theming to the character, all of it. And I mean, the beauty of the ship is magnificent. I can't speak highly enough of that. And in every area, whether it is, a bar or just a seating area, everything is just done so beautifully. I don't know what I would change. I don't think I've sailed enough to be critical of something. Mm-hmm. For me, it was all good. It was all fun. I'm trying to think of the only thing. I think I tried to make a manicure appointment and they didn't have any appointments. I don't know if that they didn't have as many people as they will one at some time. I don't know if everybody wanted a manicure. I don't know. I thought it was a little weird for a trip, but and it's not the end of the world. I was fine. I survived, But so if that's my biggest, like that's not
manicures and bingo machines.
Yeah,
they ran out of bingo machines. We were devastated.
And we were one away from winning. So that's a problem too. We need to make sure that next time we win the $9,000.
That's awesome.
So my point of contention lately with Disney is everything is phone dependent. Is it like that on a cruise? Or can I put the phone off to the side and go wander?
No. You could, except you won't know what's going on. One thing I liked about the Wish, rather than say the fantasy that I was on a couple months ago, or even the Dream. On the Dream and the Fantasy, they have QR codes for the menus. So you literally sit down at dinner, take out your phone and scan the QR code to see what the menu is. On the Wish, we got menus, which is going back to pre-COVID, so it may change on the other ships. One other thing they used to do is you used to every night get a what they call a navigator that tells you everything going on during the day. They no longer do those. I've heard if you go to guest services and argue with them, they will give you one, but I've not done that. I use my phone. So as long as you at night look and see what's going on, write yourself a note, then you can leave your phone in there. But if you're trying to chat with people, like if you and your wife split up, that's how you communicate with each other.
And the Wi-Fi was so much better on this ship.
Yeah.
The payment. Yeah. It was so much better. You pay once, and I had it the whole time. I never ran out. Whereas on the Wish, the Wonder, I had to re-up twice on a 5-night cruise. So the Magic and the Wish have that capability right now. I think the rest of them are going to transition to that. But I agree with Nancy. It was so much easier using the Wi-Fi on this ship, because on the other ships, it's like, okay, I got to check it. I got to shut it off before I run out. I got to check. I got to shut it off. This way you buy it per day or for the whole cruise, and it's unlimited. So that was really easy.
We talked about that last episode because during my last trip, it was basically you had to have a phone charger on top of a phone charger to survive a day at Disney World. And everything's so dependent. And again, Disney Genie has its place. We'll debate the goods and the bads some other time, but it removes the spontaneity of a park day. So I'll stand by that contention.
But it sounds like on the ship, if I knew, I don't have any, it's noon, I have nothing going on that I want to do until 5, I could go leave my phone in the room, let it charge.
Your room and go to the pool. You don't need it. And you can tell your family, this is where I'm going to be. You don't need to chat me. That's where I am. You don't, it's not dependent on you getting through your day. It's just, if you want to see what's going on, you can connect with guest services through your phone. You can, talk to, there's things you can do with it, but you can also just leave it in your room and not have to worry about it.
Cool.
Did you guys spend much time at that age? Yeah.
No, okay.
No, we did.
They're playing bingo all day. What are you talking about? Trying to win the big one.
You have to
apparently we needed to catch up on sleep.
Well, I'll tell you, those blackout curtains make you really believe. And you don't have a child being like, it's time to get up. So yeah, we slept in every single day till about 10:30. And that was amazing.
10. She is so lying.
Was it later than that?
What time did we get up Castaway?
That's how much fun.
11:30. You're like, Cindy, it's 11:30. We're at Castaway.
Well, I can blame it on the fact that I had West Coast time, but whatever. I don't know why you
Let's just say Nanci did not get to eat breakfast only one time because we ordered it to the room. Other than that, she never made it to the breakfast buffet. She doesn't know what Marceline's Market is like for breakfast.
One more question, and it's because I'm a steak guy, and like I could eat steak at every meal if allowed. I know I'm not sure if they have steak at the buffet, but like, am I obviously with some of the restaurants, and I'm a very specific diet person. Like, do they cater to it? Is it like Disney World in the fact that they cater to it, or like how does that work?
100% they cater to it. Yeah. I mean, buffet always has a huge variety. There's always steak. Honestly, the steaks, even at the buffet, you don't need A1. They're great. So, yeah.
A good steak should not need A1.
Exactly.
John's pro tip of the day. Good barbecue doesn't need sauce. Steak doesn't need A1.
Yeah. They have good barbecue on the island.
Yeah.
But
Good.
yes, even if there's something on the menu that you don't, I mean, if you look at the menu and you go, I don't really want any of this, or you can, there's always an option for steak. You know, if you just go a little bit down, you can get steak every night if you want. When we went as a group, there was 22 of us once that went, and all the husbands were like, steak, you know, and they always wanted the steak. So after night one, Sammy, who's the one I told you about on the Magic, every single night plopped a platter of steaks on our table. They didn't even ask for it. Just every night a platter of steak, and that was their appetizer. They just each grabbed the steak and basically ate it off their fork. So yes, you can always get steak.
I think that's the one thing I love about cruises is that the staff get to know you, and so that I have yet to go on a Disney cruise, just in other cruise lines. Yeah, I arrived to my table, and the app that I loved the day before is already waiting for me.
Yeah,
I do love that. Yeah.
I will say I've never been on a cruise, but I will tell you when I stay at the Riviera and I get like a dining reservation for Topolino Terrace every morning, they know I'm a steak guy. So like I think one trip I ate there like 3 times. They're like, "Oh, Mr. John, you want the steak?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yes, absolutely. And Wish does, another thing to mention is Wish does have a lot more options for the poolside, you know, the quick service type foods. You know, the other ships have great options, but they also have a taco stand now. They have a barbecue stand now, you know, so they do have a lot more options for food throughout the day as well.
And I didn't realize this, but you can order from another restaurant if there's something that you really, really liked at another restaurant, and that's not your seating for that evening. You can talk to your waiter and say server and say, "Oh, please, I really, really like this. I really, really like this salad." Now it might take a little, more time to get to you, but they will make it happen.
Pro tip. That's awesome.
I think we're gonna start like throwing out pro tips because we are a travel agency based podcast. Like pro tip.
You should have like a graphic that comes on this.
Oh, we will.
Pro tip.
Speaking of, what we try to do at the end of every episode is if you guys would share the best ways for our listeners to contact you if they are interested in booking a vacation with you, like what you specialize in, what's the best way to reach you. So
yeah, absolutely. So do you guys put up like email or anything?
I will put up a graphic.
Okay. So email, phone, or Facebook. My Facebook is facebook.com/Cindy MOMT. So it's super easy to get to. I specialize in cruises, Adventures by Disney, Aulani, and Walt Disney World. So.
Awesome.
And Nanci, what about you?
Nanci and Weinstein. And, I'm just coming back. And so I will tell you my email is nanci@momentsofmagictravel.com. And, but truthfully, I'm going to specialize upon my return. I did everything before, but upon my return, I'm going to specialize in cruise and adventures. So I'm going to focus on those two. I've been on a couple of adventures, and I hear that I might be going on one again. I'm being told that I might do that.
I'm literally missing the boat here.
No, it's brand new. It's brand new to us. So we are heading out. Not anywhere close, so it's gonna be a trip. So
we will need to bring you guys back.
We will come back. Maybe we'll go live from
Definitely.
wherever it is.
Wow,
yes. I will give you the reins of the YouTube channel if you want.
There you go. If my phone plan will cover it, I will definitely go live.
That's awesome.
Alyssa, what about you?
Oh, well, everyone, my normal handles pop up when I'm talking and stuff. So contact me at any of those. So I love Disney World. I've actually been doing a lot of Disneyland lately, which is really exciting. I am hoping to go on my first Disney cruise this fall, maybe. So, and then
let me know when. Maybe we'll come.
Maybe. And then
I'm a great tour guide. Ask Nanci.
Yes, true. And then Universal Orlando is my other specialty as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
all right, John.
Mine is so I don't know if my email is changing. Hopefully, knock on wood.
It's in the works.
Anyway,
it's in the works.
Good, because it's a really long email and it's really hard to fit on a screen. Anyway, you can reach me at John MONT. I think that's about gonna do it. Again, Nanci, Cindy, this was spectacular. Thank you for joining us.
This was great.
It was fun. Thank you.
This was fun. So we will definitely have you back on. So for Cindy, for Nanci, for Alyssa, I'm John. We'll see you next time.
Have a magical day.